Kings and Queens, welcome back to another episode of Faith Helps Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Diamond Booth. As you guys can see in the background, it's looking a little cray-cray, and that is because this is my last episode that I will be filming in my office. So, as you guys know, especially if you're following me on social media, if you're not, go ahead and head on over TikTok, Instagram. All of my socials are Dr. Dr. Diamond, D-Y-M-O-N-D, Booth, B-O-O-T-H. Hopefully you guys are spelling my name right by now. But anyway, if you haven't been following me on any of my socials, you probably don't know what's going on. Unless you maybe listened to my last episodes, my last two live streams. I decided to resign from my current job, and this episode is about you, even though I'm using my story. So one of the things that I've been realizing as I've been going through this process of transitioning back to my hometown and leaving Virginia and leaving this job, transitioning into a new job / new career paths, a lot of just new things going on. And what I realized is that I kept telling myself, like, I'm just do it scared, because I am taking a big step this year, and as far as just really diving into my entrepreneurship, really diving into the dreams that God has shown me, the things that God has literally revealed to me in visions and the literal dreams at night that have stuck with me and have been bothering me. And I thought, what better way to get it to stop bothering me than to just do it and to be obedient, because slow obedience is still disobedience. So I decided I'm going to be obedient and I'm step out on faith. Now, what I realized is a lot of times when we're stepping out on faith, we tell ourselves, just do it scared. Like, Nike, just do it. And when I sat with myself one day, a couple days ago, as I'm packing up my office and I'm reviewing some things for my next steps, I realized, I kept telling myself, like, Diamond, it's okay if you're scared. And I'm like, I'm not scared. I'm anxious. How did I know I'm anxious? And this is how you can know how to differentiate between being afraid versus anxious. So fear is our body's alert system. It lets us know that there is some type of danger, there's some type of threat, right? So you feel afraid if there's a bear that enters your room. You feel afraid if there's a wolf chasing you. You feel afraid if there's a snake in front of you that might be poisonous. I don't know why all my examples are animals, but you get the point, okay? You feel fear. That sudden rush of panic. You feel your heart rate racing, your nervous system reacting. You feel all of those things. You might start sweating. You go into flight or fight. Either you're going to run or you ready to square up. Now, if you want to square up with the bear, good luck to you. You got more kahunas than me. On the other hand, when you're anxious, anxiety can look so different. I teach people this all the time. Not everyone's anxiety looks the same, especially for Black women and Black men. Your anxiety may not look the same as your white counterparts or people of other descents, right? So anxiety can show up as sweaty palms. It can show up as your heart racing a little bit. It can show up as tension in your back. A lot of people don't realize that we hold a lot of tension in our body from stress and anxiety. So your body is constantly holding all this in, embracing itself, and you're never giving it an opportunity to release some of that and process some of that. That's why I'm such a huge supporter of staying healthy, staying fit, getting active, going outside. If the gym isn't your cup of tea, that's okay. I made on my YouTube channel, if you go under my playlist, there are playlists with just 5-minute, 10-minute workouts that you can do. Surely if you're watching this video, you have time to go work out. Even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or a HIIT workout, and you're able to get your body active, but you're also able to release some of that stress and get some movement going. Now, anyway, back to the point. Your body can hold that anxiety as tension. It can also which this is a little known fact, you can become tired. So sometimes people mistakenly diagnose their anxiety as depression. It's actually a symptom of anxiety to feel tired. And if you think about it, if you're anxious about something, you're worried about how something's going to play out. You're worried about if you're doing the right thing. You're worried if you're making the right decision. What if this doesn't happen? What if that happens? Anxiety is basically a big what if. It's a what if, all the worst case scenarios that you could possibly imagine. Anxiety is your body's way of imagining the worst case scenario. And it's trying to do that to help you, to support you, and to lead you into thinking about all the different things and prepare. But sometimes our anxiety doesn't help us because it becomes too loud and becomes too overwhelming. And it sends us in these spirals of what ifs. So a lot of times I tell people, when it comes to like diagnoses and all that, anxiety is just a fancy word for describing the fact that you worry a lot, or that you worry a lot about a specific thing. Okay. So you can feel tired, and because you're doing all this cognitive work of the what if this and the what if that, and playing out this scenario and how you handle that, your body is exhausted. Your mental energy takes up your physical energy. So your body's response to that is, let's just go to sleep. Let's just rest. And people are thinking, oh, I'm depressed, or oh, I'm lazy. No, baby, you're not depressed. You're not lazy. You are anxious. Now, what you can do about this is ask yourself, why are you anxious? I had to do this with myself. I had to sit myself down. I said, okay, all right, Diamond, this is getting crazy, because my mind was racing, and I caught it in the moment of the racing. And I was like, ooh, okay, let's stop, because nothing's getting done. I got 3 different screens in front of me. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to respond to these emails. I'm trying to make sure I type that up and print this and submit that. I'm doing all these things. And also in the back of my mind, my thoughts are saying, what if this isn't the right decision? What if you're jumping out too soon? What if you're not ready? What if you are trying to do too many things at once? What if you're not capable? What if you are too young to do this? What if you're too inexperienced? Shut up. That's exactly what I did. And I say it out loud. I said, shut up. Because I don't know about your anxiety, your relationship with your emotions, but I'll talk back to mine. We're not going to sit here and run me in circles. When depression is telling me, lay in bed, don't get up, it's not worth it, you're worthless, you're not enough, I say, shut up. Now, for the sake of this episode, I'm not going to say what I actually say, but I get real with my emotions. And I encourage you to do the same thing. When shame is telling you, oh, God doesn't love you anymore. Oh, you're unworthy, you're trash, or you're used goods, or whatever it's telling you, you're not beautiful enough. Tell shame to shut up and take a seat. Get out of my face. And I start out loud saying things that are directly in opposition of what that thought said, or whatever that emotion was saying. If that emotion was saying, I'm not good enough, I go in the mirror and say, baby, look at the skinning, and the teething, and the hairing. And even if I don't believe it in that moment, you do it long enough in the mirror, you're going to start feeling it. And you might even start laughing, and laughter is really good. I'm such a huge opponent. I'm such a huge supporter proponent is the word I was looking for using, like, you don't always have to jump to medication. I really do believe like laughter can be the best medicine for a lot of things, and activity, and actually using your voice. I believe that God gave us our voice for a reason. Whether your voice is audible or you do sign language, your way of communicating with others, yourself, and God is your way of healing. It is your blueprint, your best, most useful tool for healing and growing, right? So what I do is I talk back to that emotion and say, no, I am worthy. Oh, you told me I'm nothing, But my God said I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I believe him because he's over top of all of my emotions. Oh, but my tribe, my homegirls, they always big me up and they always encourage me and uplift me. They say, Diamond, we not doing that. You're too worthy to go back to that. You're too beautiful to go back to that. You're too anointed for that. And you need people around you. You need to, one, have that relationship within yourself to speak life over yourself. But you also need to have that type of community around you. And you can't be afraid to go get that community. Sometimes you got to remove some people so that God can bring in. Your life is so cluttered with people that are unfruitful, that are depressed with you and anxious with you. And they're like, yeah, girl, let's just give up. Let's just, throw in the towel. No. That's a red flag. Go find some friends that can be like, did God tell you to stop? I'm all for stopping, but did God tell you to stop? Or are you stopping because you're insecure? Right? Baby, you feeling insecure right now? Let's work through that. You feeling a little afraid right now? Let's work through that. You feeling a little anxious right now? Let's work through that. If God didn't tell you to stop, why are you stopping? And parse apart, because sometimes God is quiet because he's waiting for us to learn something. If we aren't sure what God's saying, but we are still sitting between, I don't know if I should do this or not. Ask yourself, what is your motivation to not do a thing or to do a thing? What is your motivation? Is it greed? Is it guilt? Is it ambition? Is it a desire to help people? What is the motivation behind to do or to not do whatever it is that you're just trying to Nike just do it? Okay? So anxiety can look a lot of different ways and it can cause a lot of different feels. And when you have all these different feels going on, the best thing you can do is, one, talk back to those thoughts and emotions. Two, get active, get movement, get verbal, get audible. And also, I would like for us to start getting more confident and building a blueprint and a plan for when this happens, this is what I do. When this happens, this is what I'm going to do. In that moment, when I'm looking at all the screens and I'm thinking about all the things I got to do and I'm feeling my breath kind of getting a little bit shorter because I feel overwhelmed. I feel anxious. And I am allowing in that moment those thoughts to flood my mind that you can't do this. Maybe you need to take something off the plate. Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe you're not good enough for this. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this is too soon. But it took them X amount of years to do it. Who are you to think that you can do it now? And I stopped. And there's two things that I did. The first thing is I used my voice. I said, just like I talk to my doggos. Where are the facts? And I started researching the things because I started looking at a lot of the thoughts that were coming, a lot of these anxious thoughts that were coming to mind were thoughts that were coming from other people's opinions and beliefs. So one of the thoughts that came to mind is that, oh, Diamond, you can't do all these different things. You're not going to be able to be good at all of these different things. I was like, okay, well, Diamond, where did you get that belief from that you can't do the different things that you feel passionate for or called to do? Well, a lot of other entrepreneurs say it, okay. My parents have said it a lot, okay. Well, one parent, okay. Some of my friends have said it, okay. Where are those people? And how valid is their feedback? For the entrepreneurs, yeah, maybe their feedback is pretty valid. Okay. Did God tell you that applied to you? Because on the other hand, there are also entrepreneurs who are doing it. Afnan Khalifa, I've been watching her grow and expand. And she is like the biggest girl boss cheerleader ever. And I love it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's something that doesn't go along with these set of thoughts. These set of thoughts said that you can't make it happen. This is one piece of evidence that it can. And I said, let me go a little deeper, because I know for me, my faith is very important. And God, you always know I'm going to look back to you. You're my North Star. I'm always going to look back to you. So I researched, what examples in the Bible are there of people who fulfilled multiple roles, multiple career paths, or worked on multiple projects, and were known for more than just that one thing? And I found several. First one that comes up is Paul. He was an apostle. He was a tent maker. Did not know that. But he's also a missionary. And as we all know, he was a writer. And I would even add to that, he was a special kind of leader, because he led through his own testimonies and pain. Now look at Lydia, who was in Acts 16, if you're not familiar. She's a businesswoman, a host to the early church, 2 different roles as a woman at that time, because you also got to think about the day and age this is happening. King Solomon, a ruler, an author, a builder, and a trader. 1 Kings, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Songs of Solomon. Song of Songs, I'm sorry. And then the Proverbs 31 woman, which is actually on my wall. And the reason I put the Proverbs 31 woman on my wall, because I used to be like, everyone wants to be a Proverbs 31 woman. I'm trying to be a Queen Vashti. But when I looked at the Proverbs 31 woman, and it never stood out to me before until I was on my trading journey, learning how to trade currencies. And there was a part that stood out to me so crazy. It was verse 18 that says, she sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. Let me tell you, as many times as I have read the Proverbs 31 woman, because that's the thing that's taught as like the pinnacle of like who you are to be as a woman for most Christians, I never saw that. But I believe God reveals things to you at the right time. Because a year ago, when I first started my trading journey and got connected with a trading community, shout out to Calvin the New Trader and all you other guys. I love the fam. I love the fam. I can't like name all y'all, but anyway, love the VIP group. But when I first joined that group and I first started learning about trading, there was a point in time when I was like, I'm not gonna get this. I've always been told myself that I wasn't good at math growing up, so I'm not gonna get this right. I'm not good enough. Anxiety. What if, right? Insecurity. I'm not. And one day as I'm at my computer and Calvin gave us this homework assignment that was driving me freaking bonkers. We had to record ourselves doing the trading setup. And I was freaking out because I was like, I have questions and I don't know what my questions are. I don't even know how to ask what I don't know. I'm confused and I'm getting overwhelmed because the chart's not doing what I need it to do and it doesn't look like his and da-da-da-da-da. And I take a moment and I'm like this at my desk. At this desk, I'm just like looking at my wall of affirmations. I'm going to turn them. Actually, I'll just take a picture of it and I'll insert it right here of my affirmation wall. But I look up and my eye catches the Proverbs 31 picture that I have there. And I see that verse for the first time with fresh eyes. She sees that her trading is profitable. Read it so many times and it never clicked. It never resonated. It was almost as if it wasn't there. Someone could have told me that was there. And I'm like, I don't remember reading it. And I read that often. I believe God allows certain secrets and certain nuances in scripture to be revealed to you at the time that you need it the most. And he will allow a verse to stand out to you and resonate with you in the way that you need it at the time that you need it. So as I'm sitting there praying, I'm like, God, I think I need to bow out while I can with grace, because I don't even know what I'm doing. And I see that. And it was almost like God saying, girl, chill out. You're going to be all right, baby. You got this. Like, you're going to figure it out. Don't you know? Because I took a minute. I was stuck on that. Like, it's right there. It's right there. Finally, like, get my sober mind back. And by sober mind, I mean a mind that is not being bombarded with anxiety, fear, and nervousness. And I look back at the chart. I have no idea. I do know the Holy Spirit gave me that revelation and gave me the eyes and helped me see clearly, because all the anxiety and insecurity was clouding my physical vision. I couldn't even see the charts clearly. But the moment that I got that out of the way, I grounded myself in my faith. I grounded myself in what my beliefs are and what I believe God is calling me and creating me to do and teaching me to do, so that I can accomplish the goals that I am like pursuing, not just for myself and my family, but so that I can be a blessing to other people. I pray that almost every day. I want to be a blessing I want to be blessed to be a blessing. And I see the thing that I needed to see in the chart, and I do it, get the assignment done. Boom. But I shared that little tangent because sometimes you're not seeing things right, and things look hopeless because you're looking through a lens of pain, insecurity, and fear or anxiety. And so as I looked at the Proverbs 31 woman, as I looked at Lydia and King Solomon, and I looked at Nehemiah, cupbearer, project manager, political leader, Joseph, a dream interpreter, administrator, strategist, leader, Jesus, teacher, carpenter, miracle worker, and a mentor, a discipler. And I said, if my Jesus can do it, surely I can do it. Surely God put it in me that I can do it. So all this anxiety that I'm fearing of what if, I rebuke it right now. And I tell it to shut up. And I'm calling out for myself to step into my true identity, that God identity, what I am wanting to help you guys become. Not just your best version, your God version. The version of yourself that God intended and created you to be. Baby, you will become that. Don't give up, and do not allow anxiety, fear, shame, guilt, mistakes, failure, family, loved ones, your spouse to get in the way of that. They will come on. When we focus on the kingdom and we focus on kingdom business, which is what God has assigned us and put us here to do. Not the vacations, those are a plus, those are a bonus. But our assignments, everything else falls in line. And it may get rocky. And for me in this space that I'm in, it feels so freaking rocky. And yes, I'm talking about anxiety. There are also times when I feel afraid and crippled by fear. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I'm shaking. And I'm like, I'm messing up. I'm ruining my life. Which is the anxiety talking, because it's like, oh, what if it goes wrong? But I think that what actually happens when we take a moment to sit down and really assess what we're feeling is you get clarity, but also you realize your emotions aren't as strong as you think they are. When you sit down and you really look at anxiety and you question it, anxiety asking you all these questions, and baby, you ain't asking not one question back. Anxiety asking about your worth, your value, and your credibility, and your whether or not you're enough, and your skill set, and you ain't asking. You better question that sucker. Anxiety, what facts do you have? Anxiety, what's your proof? Anxiety, who even invited you here? You can't sit with us. This may sound silly to some people, but it works. And I know it works because I see it work for my clients, my adult clients, my 54-year-old dad. I've seen it work for my, who is not a client, to be clear. We don't want no ethical problems over here. Don't even try it. But even I was working with a 37-year-old veteran Navy. And we were talking about him feeling overwhelmed with anxiety that transitioned into fear because of flashbacks. And so he was having some challenges differentiating realities, right? And I said, when are you going to start talking back to those emotions? Now, mind you, there was a significant, at the time, there was a significant age gap, and I'm still dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I feel like God called me into this profession for a reason and in this position. So I'm staying on business. I said what I said. And he was like, what? And I did question myself, like a little introspection. I was questioning myself, like, Diamond, was that right? Was that the right intervention? Because I'm like, yeah, I was taught these things, but that don't feel right now. And I go on to explain, I'm like, you need to talk back to your emotions. I was like, they're saying a lot of things. That's not you saying it. You aren't telling yourself you're unworthy. You aren't telling yourself that you're trash. You aren't telling yourself that you're not good enough. You're telling yourself that you aren't capable or that you're used goods. You're not telling yourself those things. So who's saying it? It must be anxiety. If anxiety's talking, why aren't you talking back? And so once we finally got over the hump of like the silliness of it, and he realized like, okay, whatever, it's not so bad. Once you just do it the first time and just say like, anxiety, shut up. And then you go back to doing your work. And then the next time we meet, he tells me like, I've been doing it. I'm like, doing what? And he goes, I've been talking back to my emotions. I was like, okay, how's that going? He goes, it's kind of fun. I love how the Bible says he uses the foolish things to confound the wise. Because this sounds so foolish to somebody who is not in the mental health field or hasn't tried therapy before or very new to mental health interventions and stuff. That can sound so silly. But God really does use the foolish things to confound the wise. And so it was foolish, but it worked and it benefited him. And someone else may look at me and say, Diamond, you could have done XYZ. You could have got this worksheet. I use worksheets when they're relevant. Otherwise, I'm telling you about yourself, baby. And don't let me find out that you're a believer too, because now I can really get real. Because I can talk to you for real. White, black, Asian, I don't care. Once I find out we in alignment on there, okay. What did Papa tell you? And I do have some clients that are like, who, Papa? God. What did Papa tell you? And they're like, okay. Then I need to set that boundary. We'll set that boundary. I'm fun in therapy, I promise. I'm not this goofy, kind of, sometimes. It depends. Anyway, the point is, differentiate what emotion you're dealing with. Is it fear? Because you're literally in a threatening situation. You're in an abusive relationship. So you have fear when that person comes home. That's not anxiety. That's fear. And get the help that you need to get out of it. Or there's a fire. That's fear. Get out of the whatever the fire is. Get away from it. Call for help, 911, all that, right? If there's a bear, I don't know where a bear would be, but get away from it. Or actually what they tell you is to drop and curl up and show yourself as not a threat. I don't know if I'm built that way. I think I'm a bet on my feet and I'm be like, Jesus, lift me. If there was a time to let me fly, this is the time. Now. If it's anxiety because you have 6 different things you need to get done by 11:59 tonight, or you're anxious because you have a presentation, you don't know if you're the right person for the job because you weren't even their first choice. That's happened to me before. That's anxiety and insecurity. Talk back to it. Deal with it. If it's shame, depending on what your shame is about, if it's religious shame, you go take that to God and work through that. If it's shame because you feel like you did the wrong thing and you don't like how something came out, do a fact check. Like, what are the facts that you didn't do something well, right? If you didn't get a good grade on your job, on your assignment or whatever, what can you do differently next time? How can you better prepare? Don't just wallow in the emotion. Get active, get verbal, start speaking success and accomplishments over yourself. Start saying it out loud. I will pass the next one. I can pass the next one. I'm going to pass the next one. I am passing the next one. If it's insecurity about a presentation, I can do this presentation. I will do this presentation. I am doing this presentation. And well, I am beautiful. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am flawless. All right? I am that girl. My hope is that you take something away from this video and that you grow, that you're encouraged in some way, that you're inspired in some way, that a part of you was healed through me sharing my own experiences, and that you challenge yourself to continue working towards that best version of yourself, that God version of yourself. Baby, you are beautiful. You are amazing. You can do it. Oh, you can do it. We need more successful people. We need more wise people. We need more people standing on business. We need more people being anointed and walking in their anointing. The earth needs you. It's not an option for you to give up. The earth needs you. Heaven needs you to not give up. You got this. You got this. And remember, faith helps.